So on a high level, I will explain you what we have discussed so far from day one, because we have got a long gap of around 5 days. So on day one, we have discussed about what is BPM and what is Pega, what is the use of Pega rules process commander environment. And that is a demo session. And we discussed about some questions and doubts clarification. So with that, demos are completed. And later we have discussed about how to create a new framework and implementation application using PRPC tool. So here one point is, while creating this framework and implementation applications, we created implementation application on top of framework application, and we created framework application on top of Pega platform. So there are three applications now. One is Pega provided OOTB application Pega platform, and the second one is we created for our business purpose, we created one framework application which is on top of Pega platform, and again we created one implementation application on top of our framework application. Okay, these are the three layers which we have at present. If we log into implementation application, we get access to three applications. That is the logged in application, current application, which is implementation. It's built on application, a Mercury framework application, and Mercury framework applications built on application is Pega platform. In between you have theme Cosmos, you can ignore for now. No need to much think about it. Okay, this is what we have created. And after we created it, we have just backtracked it to look at where is the relation defined between the current application and its built on application. The navigation for it is, you go to application definition, there you see built on application option. So that is the built on application, and built on application will have another built on application. The final application is Pega platform. The final base application is Pega platform, which has so many OOTB functionalities. Pega platform has so many OOTB functionalities. So, and later we discussed about classes, some OOPS concepts, encapsulation, class, types of classes, generally what is an inheritance. These are OOPS concepts. Okay. So here two types of classes are there, abstract and concrete. So all the business functionalities that we create, we must be creating in one of these two classes. Okay, where concrete classes are the ones where a transaction can be initiated, and abstract classes doesn't have that particular feature of initiating transaction. For any business application in this world which is built based on any technology which follows object-oriented programming system methodology, that must have at least one concrete class. Having an abstract class in the application is not mandatory. As per your business, you need to set up it. Without even single abstract class, it is possible that an application exists. But without even single concrete class, without at least one concrete class, no application in this world exists. Clear, everyone? And next we discussed about inheritance in Pega. There are two types of inheritance. How many types of inheritance? Two types of inheritance. One is pattern inheritance and the other one is direct inheritance. So there is no confusion here. It is very simple. Pattern inheritance means a class will be inherited from another class by class naming pattern A dash, B dash, C. By looking at the class name, one should be able to say what are the parent classes in pattern inheritance, because class name itself says it's a naming pattern. Okay, so usually, not usually, in the pattern inheritance, the parent classes will be from same application. Parent classes will be from same application, because current application classes only it can see in the pattern. Other application will not come in the pattern. Okay, and if you open the definition of any class, we are always discussing about work class only. The parent class of work class, by default we get work dash cover dash, or work dash is also okay. We removed it and we have chosen the parent class as framework applications work class. There is a specific reason for it. Why we chosen? Because our implementation application wants to access the functional features from framework applications work class. This implementation application transaction class wants to access framework applications transaction class. That's why. Okay. So we made this change manually. Okay. After we understood about the concept. And the class which we select here in the inheritance part in the class definition is called as direct parent. What is it called as? Direct parent. So this is said to be direct inheritance. What is it said to be? Direct inheritance. In a direct inheritance, we will be always choosing the classes of other application. See, built on application classes, how do you access? By means of direct inheritance. That is very simple. Same application classes, organization, division, all this, we will be accessing by using pattern inheritance. And built on application classes, we would be accessing by using direct inheritance. That is why Pega, why we have two different inheritance in Pega. What is the reason Pega comes up with? See, same application classes you can access by using inheritance. Other application classes also you can access by using inheritance only. Both are inheritance. But within application classes, if you wish to access, you need to go by naming pattern. That's we are calling it as pattern inheritance. Built on application classes, you have to choose in a drop down. That we are calling it as direct inheritance. Whether it is pattern or direct, both are inheritance finally. Okay. But Pega has two different inheritances. Here, one is pattern, another one is direct. Pattern is for same application classes, whereas direct is for built on application classes. This is clear, everyone. Don't think about organization class parents and all. Only look at transaction class as of now. This transaction class, we are calling it as work class, right? This is also called as class group. This is also called as class group. I'll tell you the definition of class group after some time. So this is what we have discussed. Okay, and we did a practical of choosing the parent direct parent class. For example, I was asking this question last time. For example, if you are going to the definition of implementation application work class, where you have seen work dash cover dash here, you removed it and you clicked the down arrow to see Mercury FW Mercury I work class framework related transaction class you wish to select there, but it is not been shown in the list of drop down values. Why it is not been shown? What is the reason?
Because it is not in the framework application.
Correct. Because you forgot to create implementation application on top of framework application. But you created both, but you forgot at the time of creation. How do you solve this now? You need to go to application definition and then check, remove what is present and choose framework application one. Beside that, you have version number, remove what is existing and select whatever that is available and save. Then come back here, it will come. Okay. So after this, we are trying to understand about classes where we are going to make use of the classes. So in our implementation application, we got organization class, implementation application class, and work class. Framework application, we have one additional class. What is the name of that? FW. Why FW? Just to make sense that it is related to framework. Any functionalities you create, you might be creating in framework application classes or implementation application classes that you will come to know where to create only based on your business requirement. When you clearly know about the business, you will come to know about where to place it. In the real development, when we are working for a client will give business requirements. Who will give business requirements from client? Usually a person called as business analyst. Business analyst. So in the interviews, they will ask you questions. How do you get the business requirements? So our business analyst is going to post this business requirements in Jira tool. From there, we will be having a conference call with our team lead, tech lead, everyone. So our tech lead will decide distributing these requirements. Business analyst is going to give the walkthrough of the requirements on high level. Business analysts do not know whether it has to be placed in framework or implementation really. They will ask, they will give you requirements, do it. Your tech lead comes to know about it, and you will come to know about it where to create only when you have clear idea about the business. Okay, so let's begin now. If you are not able to see the screen, issue should be from your end. Okay, please make sure that you reconnect the session. Okay, we are recording anyhow. And going forward, online students are classroom students. Whenever I am talking about any concept, whenever I am teaching a concept, I will get back to you and ask you whether you understand or not, or you have any question. Unless I get back to you and ask you, don't ask me any questions in between. And also, the question related to the present session only allowed, and anything future, maybe you are already working on Pega, you know many things. Do not relate it to any future concept and ask. I'll tell you it will be covered in future. Second point. Third point, research oriented question. If I select this option, how it would be? If I select that option, how it is going to be? This type of research oriented questions, you need to experience to do it of the sessions. Okay, and that time you get back to me and personally ask me by making phone call, sending screenshots. Okay, only topic related question, when I get back to you, you should ask me. Okay, research oriented, whenever you try it, if you are not able to understand that, then get back to me. Okay, future topics, I'll tell you it will be covered in future. Past topic also at the beginning you can ask, no problem. Okay, at the very beginning of the session you can ask. So we'll start now. See, now we are going to work on some business related tasks. Okay, so where we are going to deal with understanding about user interface. So UI will be there for user interaction in any business application. Okay, so here in Pega, if you wanted to work with user interface, you don't need to write any HTML, JavaScript codings like that. Okay, it will be automatically generated. First is UI. Second one will be business logic. In the business logic, generally people thinks like it's a coding part, but Pega avoids coding by providing you form-based programming model. What is meant by form-based? You will get to know about it. Anyhow, I told you everything in Pega is UI based and database queries plus reporting. Correct? All this will be covered without coding. Correct? Now we are going to start looking at user interface at the very beginning. Today is Wednesday, right? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, next week, whole week, after that week, whole week. Means 10 days plus 3. 10 plus 3, 13 sessions we will continue with UI. Understanding about user interface, how to create, how to work with, what are the best practices, all this related to UI up to some extent. Okay. After that is completed, we will jump on to understanding about the business logic and database. Okay, and we combine everything and work together with all of this. So till last session also you might be dealing with UI. So we will not be working on UI for a long duration of 15 to 20 days, or sorry, 1 month like that continuously. We will work on UI up to some extent. We will stop there and we'll revisit the user interface again and again going forward. Okay, so what are you going to learn here while working with user interface? You would be trying to understand about the technical aspects related to UI and the rules related to user interface and design navigations, how to design and all. So whether you are working with UI or business logic or database, anything in Pega, so the overall you are going to design a transaction model. How do we design a transaction model in BPM? By using flow. By using what? Flow. So we will be dealing with flow for sure. We will be dealing with flows for sure whenever we are working on all of this. So for your better understanding and ease of understanding, what I am going to do is I am going to log into some other application which I already have to explain you the concept of user interface. Okay, let me log into some other already developed or developing application for other batches. See here, don't bother about this navigations for now. You'll be learning it soon. Okay, so this is the user interface which you can see here. Okay, look at here now. See, this user interface is being created, okay, without writing any code. So generally I'll tell you. So if you go to, let's say, facebook.com, like this, if you go, and here, if you click on create new account, this is a UI form. See, the UI form consists of controls. What will be there in UI form? Controls, user interface controls. So many of you might be already aware of it. Okay, this is a label control, and this is text input control. These are all text input controls. This is called as drop down control. Three drop downs together is a calendar. Three drop downs together is calendar, appearance like drop down. Okay, and these three together, radio buttons. Radio buttons we can select only one at a time. Okay, if you select this, other one will be gone. And this is again a drop down, normal drop down. This is a text input. This is a button control, and this learn more. This is hyperlink. So user interface is going to have some controls. Okay, controls can be text inputs, radio buttons, anything. Okay, and buttons like that, and there will be hyperlinks and even more controls we will be going to see. See, you need to write HTML coding generally in order to get these controls in the UI forms. But coming to Pega, you just need to deal with just a drag and drop. So here you go now. Here you go. You are going to drag a control and drop here. Internally, it will generate the coding for this control. We don't need to see that actually. See, if you want to design user interface in Pega, as per the given requirement, you need to create a rule called section. What is that? You need to create a rule called section. Okay, so this is, I'll tell you navigations how to create. Don't bother about how to create and all. Just try to understand the concept that you got. One point, dealing with UI, one rule we need to create is section. SECTION. Section you need to create. That's a thumb rule. See, anything you create in Pega, it should have some name, correct? Anything you are creating, it should have a name. Usually we already discussed. Everything will have a label and ID, correct? So whatever the label you give here, okay, that will be usually copied into ID. It can be same or different. That's up to you. It can be edited. See, this is the one parameter which you will give while creating anything in Pega. Not only section, anything. And as we already discussed, attributes are functional components. Anything you would be placing inside some class. That classes would be there inside some application. So at the time of creating, process commander environment will ask you in which application context you want to place this. We have two contexts. By login to implementation, you will get two context accessibility. One is current application implementation. Another one is built on application, your business framework. You have a choice of choosing one of the two. How do you know as a developer which one to choose? Your tech lead may or may not tell you. You are a developer, your tech lead may or may not tell you in which context you have to create. How do you know that? Before you start working on any business requirement, know your application clearly. You need to know about the business of your application, the structure of your application already created by someone, by the time you join. So having functional knowledge before you technically implement, then only you can work on any business requirement. You don't know anything of today you joined. I placed a laptop in front of you, given access to application and asking you to create something. You know technically everything, what to create, how to create, but you don't know where to create. Why do you don't know where to create? Because you don't know what is this application, which one is framework, which one is implementation, what is the business, what is the transaction model. If you are being provided with access to laptop and application, before you are being given with requirements, you will have minimum 2 to 3 days of time, usually. Okay, usually. In that case, what you are going to do is, you start accessing your application, create morning 9 o'clock to till 1:30 lunch. If you are able to create 10 different transactions, you create 10 transactions. What you do by creating 10 transactions? Ask them how to create a transaction, you start it. You don't need to wait for anyone's KT. Going through the transaction model, try to clearly understand different parameters of your business. Read the high level business document. Take it from your tech leads. 10 transactions while doing, just note down what are the parameters. What are the conditional directions it is taking for each parameter? What are calculations happening? What are the different decision paths that it is taking? You will come to know about all this technically going forward. But try to make n number of transactions without wasting time looking for KT from someone when you have access already been given. If within 3 days, morning 10, afternoon 10, like this, 60 transactions you can do in development environment, you will gain a lot of knowledge. This is how you need to self-learn without depending on your colleagues or tech leads. Okay. So then you will come, you will understand, you will not understand 100%. Okay. You'll understand up to 60, 65. At the time of giving KT, you will automatically, you'll get to know what type of questions to ask. Otherwise, you cannot ask any questions. Okay. This is what one should be doing without wasting time. Okay. Clear, everyone? Okay. You are not being given with access. You are being given with a laptop, but you don't have application access. Ask your tech lead, give me some model operator ID. Okay. In development, just to, or in a sandbox or somewhere, or maybe development, you'll have access to edit, right? So take the access into UAT without editing. Okay, then try to make n number of transactions, create so many transactions and try to learn by yourself before you go to KT. In KT also they'll not tell you much. Now, which application context depends on your business requirement and your functional knowledge, you'll come to know about it. So it will ask you about the application in which you want to create and the class in which you want to create. Okay, third parameter is there. For next to 10 to 15 days, for next to 1 week, you just need to follow the document screenshots to choose the third parameter, which will be discussed later. But first two, by this time, you should know as per the business requirement, you'll come to know about it. So you may create in the framework application context, or you may create in the implementation application context. You may create in organization class, or if you click on view all and click the down arrow, you may create in any one of the classes that you can choose here. So we will be learning best practices one by one. As of now, we'll learn straightforward approach. So let me create. See, this is how a section rule looks like. Whenever you are being given with a requirement to create user interface, one rule that you are going to create is, what is the rule type? Section. So once you create section, I will show you. I will tell you about the views later. This is a section. A section contains an empty layout at the very beginning of, before you design it, at the very beginning as a new rule, contains what? Empty layout. This is called a dynamic layout. I'll tell you the meaning of dynamic layout maybe after 25 days, 30 days. But as of now, layout is there. Section contains layout. What does the layout says? Drop any number of properties, sections, or UI elements, or any other layouts also. So I will be telling you one thing here, that is, starting from data capture onwards, remaining 4 different options are there, right? Drop down options. These will have controls. Which control is available in which option, you don't need to remember. If you want some controls, search out of these 4 where it is available and drag and drop it. So you just need to take this, drag and drop here. You just need to take this, drag and drop here. You just need to go to picker. Maybe you select a radio button and drag and drop. So you get a drop down and put it here. Okay, like this actions, you'll have button control. You want a button, put it here. And data display, you go here. Paragraph you want, put paragraph here. So like this, whatever the control you are looking for, you don't need to know where the control is available initially. You just need to go through 4 and see, oh, okay, these are the controls. 5 to 6 times you access, automatically come to know which control is available in which option. For that, you don't need to have any specific exercise of remembering. Okay, clear everyone? So controls you will add inside layouts. Layout helps us aligning the controls. See, as of now, default alignment is 1 column. Here you see layout format, inline grid double, I am changing it. What has happened? You are seeing the controls are aligned into 2 columns, inline grid double, 2 columns, n number of rows. And now you go here, layout properties, inline grid triple. What does it mean? 3 columns. See, business is going to tell you, we want to see the appearance of screen like this. 2 columns should be there, n number of rows. 3 columns, 4 columns. We can have a number of columns, no problem. Okay, understand everyone clear? And now, not only that, for a layout, you can give header text. You can give what? Header text, customer info. Okay. And I want one more layout, let's say, for example, I can go to structural and drag and drop a layout outside. Let's say in this, I can add some controls, and this layout may have, let's say, attach your resume. I need attachment control. So here you go, attach control, and write some details about that particular what you are attaching. Let's say. One minute. Okay. So this is what about a layout can give you. There are so many options which we'll see going forward. Okay. So you are going to create a rule called section, and there will be by default one layout. Add the controls whatever you want, and see here. Generally, I'll tell you. See, let's go to the PPT document which we have opened on day 1. Otherwise, I can show you here itself. I think it is there in the document, normal classes document also. Just give me a minute. Theory documents. This is the document which we need to deal with. This document. Okay. So here you go now. See, you look at this diagram. It may not be pretty much legible to you from there, but let me maximize this possible. See here. The first one what you see here is HTML form, means user interface. And the last one what you see is database table. And between you are seeing 2, right? This one is variables. I'll tell you what is it. Business logic. And this is query preparation. Just to give you a different layer, I have just mentioned queries. When we enter the data in UI, let's go to Facebook sign up form. I will be submitting the data using this form. In the UI, the data is going to be held by controls. Who holds the data in UI? Controls. Text box, radio button, drop down. These controls will have that ability to hold the data where? In the UI. See, I register here. I enter the data and click on sign up. The data what I have entered in UI, after I click on sign up, will go and store into Facebook's database in the form of tables. In the form of tables. Tables contains data. I'll tell you later tables. Database. Data will store in the database of Facebook. Next time, if I try to register using same data, it will say you already have an account with us. Please try to log in instead of register. Second time, you don't need to register. Just directly log in. So this is what you are going to give the data. See, there will be three layers. There will be three layers, as I said during the demo classes. You see here, user interface layer, business logic layer, database layer in an application. UI data, what you have entered and submitted, ultimately it will get stored into database. How? What is the data flow structure here? That is, the data which you have entered in UI, and the moment you click on submit or register, it will go to the next level of interface called as business logic. What is that? Business logic. In the UI, who is holding data? HTML controls. It will be taken into business logic, that is called middle layer. What is it called as? This is generally called as presentation layer. This is called as business layer, business logic layer, or middle layer, or business layer. This is called a back end. What is it called as? BACKEND, back end. Okay, data layer, also called as data layer. I am talking about general terminology. Anywhere, wherever you go in this world, the terminology is same. So UI data is being flown to the next level into business logic. Who holds the data in the business logic? That is a question. UI controls are holding. In the business logic, who is going to hold the data? Let me give you one new term which you might be aware, maybe in C language like that, called as variable. Who holds the data? Variable. There is some entity called as variable which exists in business logic which holds the data. So in UI controls, HTML controls holds the data. Upon taking an action, this data will be handed over to variables in the business logic. Now variables are going to take this data and store into database, right? Any database can be accessed by using queries. What is that? Structured query language, SQL. There is some language called as SQL. In that language, you need to write queries and then store. But in Pega, you don't need to write queries. But this business logic will take the data of variables, put it in the queries by generating the queries. Generates the queries, put all this data into queries, which will hit the database and stores the data into it. Forward direction. Understand? So from UI, data is going to be there. In the UI, data is going to be held by controls. And from UI, data will go to the middle layer, that is called as business layer, business logic layer, where variables are going to hold the data. So controls will hand over the data to variables. Variables will hand over the data to queries. Queries will hit the table and stores the data into tables. This is general flow. Now see, in the UI, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 controls, 8 controls are there. How many variables I need? Usually, generally talking about eight variables I need in the business logic. First name, surname, mobile number, like this are there. So when from UI to business logic, when data is going to flow, move, their variables are going to take this data. Which variable takes which control data? So I have, imagine first name, last name, first name, surname, and mobile number. 3 controls are there. How many variables I have? 3 variables. Name can be anything. Let's say variable 1, variable 2, variable 3. I enter data in these 3 controls and submitted. It should be given to 3 variables, correct? Each one to 1 variable, correct? Which control value to be given to which variable? How does the system knows that? Control 1 to variable 1. How does system knows? Control 2 to variable 2. So this control data to be given to so and so variable out of n number. How does the system knows? In Pega, I'll show you. You are adding a control, right? You are entering data into this control at runtime, correct? So when you enter the data into this particular control at runtime, so which variable is going to hold the data? When you add controls initially, double click on the control cell properties. I'm going to go to cell properties. Here, it is going to ask you property. What is that? It is called as property. Just now we discussed about variable, correct? Variable is a generic terminology in any programming language. The same when we come to Pega is called as property. Variable holds a value in the business logic. Property holds a value in the business logic. The terminology is different, but both are same. Pega, what is the terminology they are using? Property. So variable is an entity in business logic which holds a value, and it stores in a memory also. Memory will be there. Definitely memory should be there if it is holding value, correct? That is a very common thing. And now whatever that we are calling variable in other programming languages, the equivalent terminology in Pega is what? Property. So in the UI we have controls, and the data which we have entered in UI, when you submit the data, it will be handed over inside the business logic to properties. So whenever you add a control and go to the properties of control, cell properties of control, it is asking you map a property here. I did not anything so far. Click the down arrow on your keyboard. So many properties it is showing. If I, for example, if I select this, the value which I enter in this particular control will be given to a property in the business logic. What is the name of that property? First name. So which control data to be given to which property? How does the system knows? Each control to be mapped to the property. So you add controls, you get empty. Double click on each control, you'll get cell properties panel. Map to one property each. First name control, first name property. Last name control, last name property. Mobile number control, mobile number property. Like this, you are going to map each control to one property according to your business requirement. Understand everyone clear? Now the data which we enter in UI, when you click on submit button or register or sign up, any label can be anything. When you perform an action by clicking on a button, data will be taken inside business logic and handed over to properties. Clear? From properties, it will generate queries automatically in Pega and stores into tables. I'll show you what is the table. So you are being given with a business requirement. Brand new, you have to create one screen. Okay. The first thing you need to be ready with is properties. What is the first thing? Properties. Before UI, property should be already available, correct? So step one, identify and create all the required properties of your screen. Who will tell you what are the properties? Business will tell you. For properties, you don't need to have knowledge. Business will clearly tell you what should be the name of the property, what should be the value it can hold. Everything will be told to you with respect to property. In which application context you create, business don't tell you. Okay, but property name they will tell you. As given by the business only you should create. Names and all business will tell you. So first identify and create all the required properties of the UI. Once properties are ready created, then create section, add controls, map one control to one property like that, and UI design is completed up to that basic. Okay, now properties are already available in Pega. Pega already has so many properties. You want first name, go to this search bar, type FIRSTNAME, first name. It will search through PRPC and give you the properties that are available in our applications are shown here. PY and all, I'll tell you later what is PY. These are all predefined classes properties. Generally, given any requirement for anything, you should not create by yourself if it is already available in Pega. OverDB already there. You don't create again. That is the best practice. What is the best practice? Not creating by yourself is best practice in Pega. Using already provided is best practice. That means correct. But as a learner, we start learning it by creating anything by ourselves as of now. Going forward, we'll see how to make use of OOTB features. Okay. So now I am going to tell you about property. What am I going to tell you about? Property. So here you go. I will open a property. So one or two properties I will open. Probably tomorrow we will be practically creating, but today you try to understand. Okay. I will go to another property also. Hold on. Gender. Okay, you see. See, I already told you, any rule you create, it must have a name. It must be created inside some application and class. If I open the rule, CL parameter you are seeing, that means it is created in a class called Signa. Application context you cannot see here, I'll tell you later. ID you see, this is the name of the property. You see first name here also you are seeing, right? First name, this is label, display name. This is label, this is the actual name. Here you see property type. See, at the time while you are creating a property, you must know about which type of value it holds. See, for example, if I am going to create a property by name date of birth. Date of birth means it holds a date value. It holds which value? Date value. I'm creating a property called password. Password means? Yes. You can see some text which is like star symbols. Okay, which is like star symbols. Whatever you enter, anything can be entered. Star symbols you will be getting usually. See, if you're creating a property, okay, if you're creating a property which is age value, it holds value of customer's age, then property type should be integer. If you're creating a property to hold the first name value of customer or full name value, then property type should be text. So like this, there are so many property types you will be learning going forward. The basic things: text property, integer property, double value. Double value means larger than integer. Integer is maybe 627682 62767 range, minus 62762 plus 62767, like that range will be there. Beyond that value, your phone number is there. Okay, 9652532753. 10 numbers are there beyond the integer range in programming language. Then what you go for? You go for double value. Generally, I'm talking about. Okay, you can even take phone number as a text because it will have plus 91. Combination of integer plus alphabets or special characters, overall we call it as text only. Are you going to do any arithmetic operations using phone number? Then no need to go for double or integer. You can directly use text property so that you can better save the value with plus symbol 91, like that also. Okay, it allows, otherwise it won't allow. So like this, property type tells you about which type of value it can hold. If you go to basic programming languages like C, this is called as data type. What is this called as? Data type. But in Pega, data type is some completely different. In Pega, what is data type? Completely different, which you will be learning later. So a property will have a name, a property will have a type. Give me 1 minute. Okay, a property will have name, a property will have name, will have ID. Okay, will have ID, and name means display name, ID is the actual name, property type is there. Okay, see, you're mapping the property to control, correct? That's what we discussed during UI. Which control you map, that also you should know. Usually you never need to think about all these things because these are very sensitive. Business will clearly tell you this must be the name, this must be the type of value it should hold. In the UI, this is how it should appear, like a drop down, like a radio button, or maybe like a text input. Business will, all these we don't need to take tension. Okay, but you need to know where the options are available. So I'm not going to talk about this one, that will be covered later. Here you go, UI control. There are so many controls provided by Pega. Text input you are seeing now. PX handle I'll tell you later. Click the down arrow. These many controls are there. You want a text area? Select this. You want a timeline? What do you mean by timeline? 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour timeline. One bar will be there. Okay, there you will have one dot. You can scroll on right side, left side, like the timeline means. Okay, and you want like a URL, hyperlink, something like that. You can choose this. Okay, you want some other different controls. Let's say radio buttons you want. Generally radio, you choose radio. If you type some text here, it will highlight the matching one. It will be difficult to find out of these many controls. It will be difficult to find out searching through eyes. So you type something matching, it is going to highlight the matched one. So like this, you are going to use controls, most widely being used controls we are going to come across. Okay, so okay, here you go. Now next, after control, table type. When do we go for this? I will show you. Gender I am going to create as a text value only, either male or female, or prefer not to say, something like that options. But for radio buttons I need these labels: male, female, prefer not to say, like this, male, female, something else, custom. So for that label, you need table values. You need to write like this so that it will be shown in the UI. You have five table values, for example. 5 radio buttons you will get automatically. 10 table values, 10 radio buttons you will get. 2 table values, 2 radio buttons. 1 table value, is it okay? If you are using radio button only 1 table value, there is no meaning, right? So minimum 2 will be there for sure. So like this, you are going to use table type local list in this type of situations where you wanted to have some radio button labels, drop down values, that and all you can define in the local list, which we'll be doing going forward. Okay, so property you are going to create, where you are going to, it is going to have a name, it will have a data type, it will be having controls. And once you are done with properties, create section, add controls, map property to control. Done, UI is ready. So I'll explain a little bit more about this. Now you see, everyone clear so far? This is a document which I am going to share you related to the explanation, whatever I have given from beginning to now. Okay, now here you go. See, understanding the basic rules in Pega. While you go through this document, at the very beginning it was written that ignore reading red color sentence for now. So in this document there is one sentence which is highlighted in red color, drafted in red color, like this somewhere below. Ignore reading this red color statement for now. It must be available here. You read it later. I'll tell you when to go ahead with this in the future. Okay. See, first one, we discussed about property. We are going to discuss about basic rules which are needed for UI. There are 4 rules: property, section, flow, action, flow. I never told about the last 2, but so far you know about little bit about property and section. Up to some extent I told you, not everything. Every option in a rule we will not discuss on single day. Okay, it cannot be done. So if I have 5 options, I told you only 3. What does it mean? Remaining 2 will be covered in future whenever we come across the related topics. Okay, now property is just like a variable in other programming languages. It holds a value, it is associated with the name, property type, and control. Table type also can be there. Ignore this. Coming to this one, property can be created under data model category. What is this statement? This statement tells you about navigation that you need to follow. Property can be created under which category? Data model category. It means to say navigation to you. This is class, right? You want to create anything, right click on the class. Basic way, basic approach I'm telling you. You are creating something, right? Go to create menu, and this is create menu, and in the create you are seeing second menu, right? This is called categories menu. What is this called as? Categories. Rule category menu. So what is the category we are talking about? Data model. Go to category menu, then you will see rule type menu. So 3 menus you see: create menu, rule category menu, rule type menu. Okay, rule property is rule type. Property is rule type. Category is data model. Property can be created under which category? Data model category. If I tell you this way, if you read a sentence like this, okay, you need to click on create, right click create, then you need to find out category. What is the category? Data model. Inside data model category, the rule type we are discussing about is property. You'll see somewhere that option. It is not only property. There are many rules that can be created under data model category, which we'll be learning going forward. So first, property can be created under which category? data model category. This statement tells you about the navigation. Okay, when you read a statement like this, you don't need to go to VRPC. You'll come to know about the navigation. So this is about creating property just given to you, which we'll be doing tomorrow. Property will have a name, type, UI control, table type. I explained about all this. Okay. Next section. What is the second one? Section. Section is a HTML rule. Why did I say that it is HTML rule? Let me tell you. Section is used to design user interface, correct? If you want to design user interface in this world using anywhere, basic scripting language is HTML. You are using ASP, you're using JSP, you're using anything else that is born from HTML. That is born from HTML only. That's why I call section is used to design UI. UI means HTML. That's why section is called as HTML rule. Section is the HTML rule used to design user interface. Ignore this. Coming to this one. Section can be created under user interface category. What is the category? UI category. Create user interface section. The point is going to tell you about navigation. Understand everyone clear? This is about section under UI category. Okay. Next. So section can hold properties into its layout and associate them with controls. So inside section, what do you have? Layout. Inside layout, what do you have? Controls. Controls are associated with mapped with properties. In the control, if you enter a value, which property holds that value in the business logic? The property which is associated with that control is going to hold the value. I shown you that, yes or no? This is section. Control. Control is mapped with property. The value entered in this control at runtime is going to be held by a property. What is the property? First name property. Next one, flow action and all, I'll tell you later. This is clear, everyone? So what did we discuss today? Today we discussed about two different rules. One is property and second one is section. I clearly explained you what is a property, what is its purpose, how do you create navigation, which we'll be doing tomorrow. Second one, I clearly explained about basically what is a section, what is its purpose, navigation, how to create it. Okay. And anyone has any doubt or question about the same?
Hey, Harsha, do we create the section first, in that we create the properties?
No. See, inside section you add controls and map the control to property. That means by the time you add control and you want to map it to property, means by that time you should have property readily available. So the first step is what? Creating properties. If you are being given with a requirement to design UI, first think about whether we already have properties or not. Suppose already properties are there in the system provided, then you don't create. You use the same. Otherwise, you create properties, be ready with properties, then create section, add controls in the layout, map to properties. Layout is going to be useful to align the controls, alignment order. See, so you have 1 acre land. In the land, you wanted to construct some houses. What are you going to do as a first step? You divide that into layouts. You are going to divide the land into layout. What is this layout is going to give you? A proper structural design of each plot, correct? So you wanted to have 4 different segments. Okay, roads, T-shape, plus like a plus symbol. Road will be there. Okay, this side some houses you want to construct, plots and all. So like that, it is going to give you a proper alignment of your entire portion of the land. Same way, entire UI, you want a proper design. I want controls aligned into 4 columns, n number of rows. Okay, column should have label plus value. Label should occupy 30% of this that particular overall control space. Control should have 70% or 50%, 50%. This alignment kind of stuff can be done by using what? Layout. Okay, so layout, after you add controls inside layout and map to properties. Okay, any other questions? We'll come across with different options. You can play around with the options once we start.
Harsha, so you have, showed the navigation how to create a section. So you have given a right click on the work class here, or we can also do it
No,
for
no,
other.
you don't need to bother about the navigation as of now, because at the time while we are practically going to do it, right, you'll be learning it how to create. So right click on class group or all that you will be learning slowly. See, one that you will be learning, no need to worry. Tomorrow, by tomorrow you'll get it. Okay. Now I will be sharing you theory document which I have shown you just now. Okay.
Harsha, I have one
This
question.
video, you will get access.
Harsha,
Many
in the
people,
class.
hold on. Many
Okay,
people,
sorry.
around 10 to 15 people, they have made the fees payment during these holidays. We have added them groups and we given them form, Google form. And whatever the emails that we got before holidays, we created email group with that. 602, now your batch is 602. There should be, did you receive any email? Oh, maybe my team did not create it. So today I will create, otherwise we will be creating today. We will be downloading that form. Link is already given to all of you, correct? All of you by this time would have finished submitting the form. We would have done it, maybe my team, I don't know whether they did it or not. I'll check with them. By today 12 p.m. afternoon India time, you will receive all this in the email. For today only delay. Okay, from tomorrow immediately after the class I will do it. What is the doubt you have? I thought they have created, but yeah, go ahead. What is the doubt you have?
Yes.
Harsha,
Harsha,
you used the word called rule in between. What do you mean by rule? I mean, somewhere while explaining, you
Rule.
used the
I will
word.
tell you what is the rule, but for now, property we discuss it, right? Section we discuss it, right? Property is a rule. Section is a rule. Anything you create in Pega is a rule. Pega rules process commander. Everything you create on PRP's environment is a rule. Technically, what is the rule to learn? It will take maybe around 25 days time, 20 days time. Okay, technically to understand. Property is a rule, section is a rule, class is a rule, application is a rule. Everything in Pega is a rule for now. Okay, you should not say this like this in interviews. You have to give a proper technical definition, which you will be learning later. Okay, so all of you who are there in the online group and classroom group, you must have already filled the form. Anyone of you, if you did not fill the Google form, already filled, ignore. Just fill it immediately, and we will be downloading that emails, and we will be creating email group and sending you document by 12 p.m. noon. You'll be receiving. Okay, when
Harsha,
you
in
yes, please.
Harsha, in Mercury auto insurance class. Okay, in the when the Mercury A and work class, we see in the parent the pattern is the work cover, and we just we
Direct is
created
work
the
cover, not pattern.
direct is work cover. Sorry, and we have created the implementation on the framework, but still why the drop down option is not showing? That's my
See,
question.
it will not show. It is not going to take automatically framework work class here. So that
Yes.
is the reason why we have selected manually. It must be like that. Pega is not giving. So what did I do? I have manually changed it. Okay.
Yes, because you said that we haven't created
It
the
will not
implementation
automatically
on the
come.
framework, but we have
You
created the
create
implementation on
application
the
on top
framework.
of another application doesn't mean it is not giving. It is going to give. Doesn't mean it is going to give.
Okay.
As it is not
Okay.
giving by default, I manually added it.
We
Okay,
will manually add it, right? Okay. Thank you, sir.
yes. And practical document is given to all of you. And any questions at the beginning of tomorrow's session, I will take. And you can WhatsApp me even if you have any doubt further. Okay, we will be continuing tomorrow sharp 7 o'clock. I see so many people, they did not come to classroom today. They might be there at their hometowns. When they do not come, at least they would have to connect online. Okay, taking permission. But they even did not do that. Even online people also, many people, they did not join. I think they forgot to wake up in the morning as usual. Okay, so from tomorrow, I request every one of you, whoever is watching this recorded video, please make sure you join the classes regularly. Thank you. We'll continue tomorrow. First 15 minutes, I'll give you time.